Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for joining tonight's edition of HR Mentorship Learning Series. My name is Oluyemi Adeosho, and tonight we have one of our veteran, seasoned HR practitioners and also very committed member, long-standing member of the HR mentorship community, Seyi Adegbola. He has facilitated quite a number of sessions. In fact, he is one of the first set of people who facilitated when we started running this series way back. Tonight, Seyi Adegbola will be sharing his experience with us around industrial relations best practice, a prerequisite to peaceful industrial harmony. And I would like to read his brief profile so that we get to know why we even need to listen more intently and get insights from tonight's session. She is a seasoned HR practitioner with over 14 years of experience driving high-impact initiatives across diverse industries. Currently, he was the head of HR at Tulu Cocoa Processing Limited. She leveraged his expertise in talent development, employee engagement, and industrial relations to build productive workforce. He holds a master's degree, ladies and gentlemen, in human resources and industrial relations. She is also a member of the Chartered Institute of Personnel Management, Nigeria, and a member of the Nigerian Institute of Training and Development. Prior to his current role, he honed his skills for over 6 years at AFBTE. I'm sure he'll tell us the full meaning of AFBTE. I think that's a Association of Food, Beverage, something Employees of Nigeria. All right. He is a result-driven HR leader. She excels at designing and delivering impactful training programs, implementing effective performance management practice, and so on and so forth. It's also interesting to know that she is a serial entrepreneur and he resides in Lagos with his family. Ladies and gentlemen, next voice you'll be hearing, Seyi Adegbola, speaking to us on the topic, industrial relations, best practice, a prerequisite to peaceful industrial harmony. You have the floor, my brother. Over to you, sir.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you, Mr. Oluyemi Adeosho, Dr. Oluyemi Adeosho, for the opportunity and the relentless efforts in making this community a place to regularly visit. I must commend your rugged efforts to see every one of us succeed in one way or the other. And I hope that tonight we'll be sharing. I'm only facilitating. I love last week's session, and I also like to go in that direction. Thank you for the opportunity. I believe we'll get the best out of this few minutes we're going to share. I promise I won't be boring, and my slide will be as interactive as much as possible. Also, to every one of us, Happy New Year, compliment of the season. I know a lot is happening in the industry, different agreements being signed. Some of us are just getting our bonus. Some appraiser is still on. I wish all the best in this time and season. So quickly we go, we are talking about industrial relation best practices, a prerequisite for peaceful industrial harmony. So the question we ask ourselves, what is industrial relation itself? I believe almost 75% of us on this HR platform belongs to a union environment, or we operate, or we used to operate in the unionized environment. And there are best practices that over time have shaped practice of IR, especially in Nigeria, bearing in mind different things that have happened over time and things that are still happening. So what do I mean by prerequisite? Prerequisite are just like things we need to know, things we ought to know, some things that need to be in place for a peaceful industrial harmony. May I quickly ask a question? How many of us enjoy strike, either at lower level or higher level? How many of us enjoy strike? Anyone can mute and just tell us how many of us enjoy strike? When there's strike action, either at the national level or industry level or branch level or enterprise level, whichever way we want to ask. I'm sure we're all muted, but I'm sure nobody enjoys strike as much as we want productivity in our workplace. So this evening, we are just looking at the background of industrial union, what currently obtains, our different industry and best practices that we may see one way or the other, and we have the closing remarks. So I have a few slides to quickly introduce us to what's really the so-called industrial relation. Industrial relation is not far-fetched. It's what we call labor relations or union interaction. So don't let us be carried away by too many grammar. And in Nigeria, basically, I'm sure by now, even if before last election, we don't know, from the last election and after the election, we all now know if you are really in the business of working in Nigeria, we all now know what NLC is and what TUC is. So basically, NLC is Nigeria Labour Congress and TUC is Trade Union Congress. And they call themselves either labor or union is used interchangeably. They are Congress because they believe they are forward-looking. So one is trade. Trade is also business or employment. And these people are not also in isolation. The way some of us work with multinational, that we have practices that are not domesticated, but are embedded one way or the other that we need to follow. So most times, some of these guys too fight some of their battles, believing that you don't have to be in Nigeria for some things that work in UK or US or in France to work in Nigeria. That is why they have affiliates. So our Nigeria NLC, our Nigerian TUC are also affiliated to some international organizations or international body. Suffice to say, if you are a member of any of these business management organizations, I'm sure you are familiar with ILO. And if you are practicing HR in recent times, ILO is becoming more pronounced. And we also have the International Trade Union Congress that the people of TUC belong. Funny enough, our two affiliations, depending on their, level of engagement and all that. But I need to let us know this evening that most of the that we call international best practices are adopted practices or procedures that are being led by the International Labour Organization, that's the ILO. ILO is what they call the Oga Patapata of all labor organizations in the world. And let me quickly let us know, since we are talking about background, NLC have about 59 affiliates in Nigeria, while TUC have about 29 affiliates in Nigeria. What do we mean by affiliates? If you work in an organization, I believe your organization belongs to one industry or the other. It's either you are in the food industry or you are in the chemical and non-metallic, you are in the telecoms, you are in the transportation, you are in the logistics, you are in the shop and distributives, you are in the hotel and personal. Your organization surely belongs to a particular industry. But the funny thing that I've seen is that some organizations or some union or some level of businesses or level of employee that you would think should be, to you, they are senior or they are supposed to be senior. But surprisingly, they belong to NLC. Because in the context of union in Nigeria, the junior union supposed to be in NLC, while the senior union supposed to be in UC. But you'll be surprised that a body like ASU is in NLC. You also be surprised that some organization still that have majorly senior staff belong to NLC. So those are the ironies, and those are the ground we are trying to check with ourselves. And let me quickly tell you some of the affiliates that some of our Nigerian unions, which the NLC and TUC, are related with. One, we have the International Trade Union Confederation, which head office is in Belgium. We also have the International Trade Union Confederation Africa, which head office is seated in Togo. We have the Commonwealth Trade Union Congress, which both of our unions are also affiliated to. We have the Organization of African Trade Union Unity. We also have the Organization of Trade Union of West Africa. I'm sure we all know Nigeria is West Africa. So that is the meaning of that. So at times when you see your union coming up with different things that you seem to wonder, where is this coming from? These are what they call international best practices that somehow we are either forced to accept or we are meant to accept. Either knowingly or unknowingly to you, agreements signed at the industry level is binding to your enterprise. What do I mean by enterprise? Enterprise is your union, your company, your branch. So some agreements that is not even known to you, you don't even know when they sign it. But as long as it is signed and your organization belongs to that industry, you are binding. So let me quickly move to what I call the current status. What is currently obtainable? What is the current situation when it comes to union in Nigeria? NLC, their mission, they are created to promote the right of workers. They are also to encourage decent employment opportunities for all Nigerian workers. I leave you to just oppose the current situation with what they are originally meant for. The second thing they tell you that they are created for is to promote social justice and international recognized human and labor rights, pursuing a funding mission that labor peace is essential for prosperity. The truth is, industrial peace is necessary for prosperity of our businesses. But let me ask you a question today. Is NLC doing anything close to this thing in the way they claim they want to be doing it? Also, TUC, who is for the senior people, said they are to organize and unite all senior staff association, bring them together for something that we can say is worth doing. But we can see here that there are more of, I'm sorry if any union executive or either state, national, or branch is on this call. But the truth is, you guys are doing some things that is not even aligned with what you are originally meant for. So today we see more of radicalism and as if you are a human rights activist. Meanwhile, you are supposed to promote and safeguard the economy and social welfare of your members, preserving and extending their rights within a just, free, and democratic society. Suffice to say, do we run a democratic society when it comes to union relation? Negotiations are going. The next thing, they are on strike. Does that tell the true picture of what they are supposed to do? The answer is no. So for me, that's another problem. So what are the union meant for, especially for TUC? They have the opportunity to go about union rights, seek the universal recognition and application of trade union rights. Okay, I'm talking about Lagos here because I'm using Lagos as a case study. They are also supposed to be in collaboration with whatever the company is supposed to do, maintain, develop strong, democratic, powerful, and effective organizations of all senior staff associations. The question is, are they doing that as well? They're supposed to be productive employment and retirement. For me, productivity has to do with what somebody has to bring to the table. But the question is, a lot of them have allowed union activities to erode their performance. And by the time we say, no, you are not performing well, you implement the PIP, the policy says after 2 appraisal cycles, the person is out. They will tell you cannot sack a union executive is doing ABC. They're supposed to also have resource development where they train their people to understand that you are first an employee before you become a union member. And they're also supposed to improve the work and living condition of their workers. Suffice to say, many of these working conditions, either the company is bleeding or not, it takes a very reasonable union to accept that and flow with you. Most times they believe that whatever is signed or whatever is agreed, either affordable or not, you need to implement. But the truth is, affordability is the purpose of every union organization. So what do you play? Now, I believe that somehow this slide shows some industry that we all belong to. For me, I belong to the food and beverage industry. So I deal majorly with FOCTOB and NUFBT. I'm sure a lot of us are also in the oil and gas sector. It's either you are in Pegasen or you are in Nupeng. Some of us are also into the transport sector. But you know the truth, whether you like it or not, the people you call Agbero, they are union members. And that's why you see they grade themselves up national progress. That is their work. You may not see anything in, you may see them as nuisance, but they are as powerful as any other industry you see in Nigeria. We have NOGI. Some of us are working in government organization. Those that are working in local government also have their union. We have the Nigerian Union of Teachers. We have them there. We have some of you that are working as the non-metallic, chemical and non-metallic is still there. We also have some of you working in electricity, where Dr. Adeosun used to be one of those people way back, but I'm sure as a HR, you may not be able to join union. We also have the Nigerian Union of Shop Distributive Employees. So we have so many things. I just tried to come with just few. And some of us are operating in the hotel sector. So we have the National Union of Hotels, Personnel Service Workers. A lot of industry that we all play. So the question is, you should permit us to mute for like 2-3 minutes. I want us to just, probably if we can identify anyone that play in any of this industry, so we can have a very good interaction for the next slide I'm going to. So please, let me quickly ask, is any of us familiar with any of this industry? Have you been in any of this? Were you in any of this, or are you currently in any of this? And perhaps there are some I did not put here. Of course, there are lots. As you can see in my previous slide, we have about how many unions now? 59 plus 29. So we are talking like 90, about 90. So you can imagine how many unions we have altogether. ASU is not here, NASU is not here, SANU is not here. So many. I just pick few that I think a lot of us are into. So is anyone playing in any of this industry, or can you just mention the industry you play in? So before I
If
move
you
to
like to talk, please raise your hands and we'll unmute you. Thank you. Anyone wants to talk or you can type.
yeah, you can type. I can read through the text there. Good. NOPTE, man. Okay, may I let you know that man is not a union body. Man is a business organization. It's just like a coming together of some employers that want a cover in order to relate with the government, especially on matters that are not what they can take up directly with the government. That's why we have the likes of NECA, the likes of MAN, the likes of LTI. That is what those ones are. Yeah, as Biffy, thank you very much. As Biffy is very, very key. The banking industry, wow, that's a lovely one. So thank you very much for, okay, I think I like that one. So it was NUPTE. And someone just write, Titilope, can you let us know the full meaning of NUPTE? I know as big fees for banking and finance institution where the insurance and I know they are strong. Yes. Michael Fakayode, NUFBT is our people. Oh. AFBT is not a union. Who is writing AFBT? You are touching the major part of me. NUFBT are my people. Yes. National Civil Engineering Construction and other powerful people. I like that. Let's bring it on. Dixon, Econ, AFBT is not a union, an employer body. I worked there for about 6 years, and that is why you see I talk about some of these things very well. Yeah, postal and telecoms, very correct. When I was in Korea Plus, I was able to also manage some of these people. I have Mr. Friday and one Ima that used to be secretary. Very powerful. When they write letters, you have to carry dictionary at times to read some of these letters. Thank you very much. I think we thank you, postal and telecoms. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Let's move on. So that's different industry that we play. And the truth is, there are generic industrial practices with all this union, generic, also specifics about all this union. So let me quickly move to the next slide because I know we are also time conscious here. Let me read that just because you are talking doesn't mean you are communicating. For everyone that understands industrial practice, union, communication is very key. If you are playing at the national level, it's different from playing at either the state level or playing at the branch level. And for everybody sitting here this evening, I'm sure most of us are playing at the branch level. Because once you are playing at the state or national level, you are no more an employee. You are no more on the employer side. You are already a union on your own. So, but I know for some of us that are also very close to the union, you can agree with me. One of the things we also need to be careful about recently is the National Industrial Court judgment and rules. So when I said best practices, best practices may not literally be in your branch agreements, in your state agreements, or in your national agreements. Best practices are practices that at times, morally, you may see it to be, why are they doing this? But professionally, that is the way to go. Hello? Morally, some of these things may seem not to be right because we are human beings. We have feelings. There's a way we think about, why is this thing like this? It's not supposed to go like this. But the truth is, there are procedures, there are practices. That is why in the industry, we have what they call procedural agreements. Procedure on how things are done and how things should be done. I think in one of my earlier years of sharing here, I spoke about that. But I know one day I'm going to talk about some of these major industry practices, talks about procedural agreements, collective agreements, branch agreements, appendices we sign at different local level. We'll talk about it. But this evening, I want to let us know that the prerequisites we are talking about are things we need to borrow. It's not majorly things that you think should happen in your industry. But what is the preparation as an HR practitioner, as head of IR, head of ER, head of HR, head of employee relations, head of employee engagement? What is your readiness to discuss and win in 2025 when it comes to union relations? Unfortunately, I just put this here for us to know and for us to check. If I break down some of these cases for you, you'll be wondering how did some of these things happen. But it happens. Probably the company did not follow procedure. At times, some things that ordinarily your company will win. Let me give for an example now. There's an employee that took us to court. And I met this in my current place of work. And I saw different letters from NGO, coming from lawyers and all that. So most times I don't reply because I felt it's not up to their responsibility to do that. So I called the guy to say, young man, I saw your letters. What is the problem? Oh, my volume is quite low. Okay, let me see. I thought I'm talking on top of my voice anyway. Okay, maybe you need to check. I think my volume, I think, is fine. Okay. Please, maybe you are using earpiece or Bluetooth. Some of these things can cause issues at times. So please bear with us. I'm sure others are hearing us. Probably it's 1% of the 100. Thank you very much. So I visited the case. I called the guy. I know what the guy told me. He said, Oga, I know you are new. I know you know what you are doing. But I want to disturb this company small. I want them to spend money. I said, why? This money, we could have given it to you. He said, no. Since they didn't give me when they're supposed to give me, they will suffer for it. I know I may lose this case, but I'm going to court. So I said, okay, we'll meet in court. First court session, after two, they struck the case out. The guy didn't show up. After 2 sessions, the guy didn't show up. They struck the case out. Of course, we paid the lawyers. 3 months after, the guy reapplied to the court again. So we had to start doing documents. So I called him and said, you struck out this thing thinking you are coming to the office to discuss it and all that. He said, Oga, I'm not satisfied. I don't like the way one of the former Oga spoke to me. That's why I went back to court. And my lawyer said I should go ahead. Probably they will get money for me. I said, fine. So I called the lawyer. I said, go ahead. I checked the file and everything. So what's the major issue? The guy followed our procedure, but did not do exit clearance. So the question you ask is, he was given a query, yes. He responded, yes. He was given fair hearing, yes. Was he exited accordingly? No. The guy was claiming his entitlement to gratuity. The industry agreement says qualification is after 5 years. The guy was just 2 years plus. I told him, number one, you lost in that one. Did you do clearance? He said, I said, okay, if it's me, I will just write to you, copy you by mail or anything to say, following the panel sitting, the panel has agreed and your employment is no longer required or terminated. Kindly proceed with necessary clearance so that your necessary exit pay will be paid. So unfortunately, again, the guy received his last salary, but he claimed he didn't get the pay slip. I was able to print out the pay slip. So I asked him, with some of these things I'm doing, you will lose this case. He said, okay, I will lose the case, but you will pay for, what's the name again? You didn't terminate him well. I'm trying to remember that word now. You didn't exit him properly. So I said, so at the end of the day, well, how much do you think court will give you? He said 3 months salary. I said, how much is your salary when you were leaving? You're a driver, maybe 100,000 naira. So the guy just said, okay, I just want to disturb the company. So you can imagine why some of these people go all the way. But if we have followed some of these best practices, that may not even be in your handbook, may not even be in your branch agreement with you. But these are simple things you should have understood or even asked on the platform. How do you do this? How can I ask this guy to avoid little issues? So we need to go and read up judgment, cases, and ruling. And let me quickly say this. Judgment and ruling is not the same thing. No. So judgment is final. Ruling is, at times, you still need to go back and implement on your own. It's a ruling, it's not final. So, but some of those things still obtains. Depends on the industry you find yourself. So let me move with speed because we are already like 8 o'clock, 30 minutes. What are best practices that we are now talking about? One of the things I need us to know, which is very key, is the knowledge of the law. My brother, my sisters, The labor law just here and we smile about. A lot of companies are facing issues with lack of proper understanding of this same thing. And the knowledge of the law is one. The applicability of this law is another thing. So as HR practitioners, we must find the best in implementing any of these laws that is applicable to any of these things. Let me give you an example. You can't tell somebody not to join union in your organization, though. As HR, you can't even advise somebody seriously, even jokingly. If you think you have a reason for somebody not to be in the union, you have to be careful in the way you communicate it. Don't be seen as interfering to union affairs. You are going against the law. It is necessary for a union member. It's freedom of association. And they also have the right to say they are not doing it again. In fact, in our own industry, for junior staff, the day you employ that person as a full-time employee, is automatically a union member. And he must withdraw his membership by writing. So if somebody come and tell you, oh God, remove my name, I'm not doing union again, tell him to go and write. Acknowledge it, give him his own copy, and keep in his file. So that tomorrow, if the union membership is diminishing, they won't say HR has hand in it. That's very important. For the senior in my own industry, they have the right to either go in on their own or come out on their own. But to also avoid unnecessary interference, once you come in, you're a union member. We just tell you, after your first salary, we let you see that. Please go through your payslip. If there's anything you see in the payslip you don't like, let us know. Currently, NHF is optional. It's not compulsory. So we also tell you during onboarding, during induction. So after, if you don't want, just write to us that we're withdrawing your subscription for NHF, that we're withdrawing your membership. Every other one, pension is compulsory. Tax pay is compulsory. Second thing about best practices is we must know the industry documents. I operate in the food, beverage, and tobacco industry. I can't say because I'm new in the industry and they tell me something is a national agreement, I will say it's none of my business. It's my business. In fact, whatever was signed in 1980 that has not changed over time is still relevant in 2025. That's 45 years document. Whatever agreement is signed in your own industry, even before you were born, you can't say it's archaic. It's not in your place to say that document is invalid. It's a document for the industry, which you must abide with. So I always like to use myself as an example. In the industry, we have agreement as far back as 1980. We have some as far back as 1980 something. We have one as recently as year 2000. We have some that is even as recently as year 2023. But what we always have as caveats is if whatever you are doing currently in your organization is better than industry agreement, you need to wear that woman cap and do what is better. Because one day, you don't know, maybe that's the same agreement they will use for you management people. Management do have an agreement, but HR must relate with MD to see how structure can be built for management people to have something documented in their favor. The third one about best practices is relationship. You need to build a relation. You know, I said something earlier here. I said, because you are talking does not mean you are communicating. When those guys come, Sama, listen to them. No matter the kind of English they are speaking, just listen. Even when they are blowing gun, don't laugh. Empathize with them. Allow them to express their anger Allow them to express what the it they have felt. In my own industry, you will realize that the union executive will not just come to you until their followers have loaded them with a lot of allegations, lot of lies and disturbance. And the next place to drop all those things is HR. So it's left for HR to say, guys, you are welcome. I'm very busy now. I've heard all you said. I will send you a mail. Let us meet by 5 o'clock. You know what you are doing? You are closing by 6 o'clock. Many of them are also eager to go. That discussion will not last more than 1 hour. You will ask them to break down everything they want and pick the major one that can help to solve the other ones. Those are the things you will discuss. So if they come with 10 items, you will help them to say, guys, this one is the list of your problem. Leave it. Out of this 10, I can see that this 10, this 5 is not going to be relevant to anybody. Let's focus on. You have even helped them. They will not say, Oga, you are right. We just put it. We don't know what will happen. They will now be the one to tell you, even this remaining 5, let's just focus on these 3. And they will tell you, out of these 3, let's take one first. If you can solve that one at least, that is the relationship part of it. Unfortunately, the guys you are dealing with today, that you are doing today, see they get you tomorrow. That's how I have for you. There's no perfect environment. All you need to do is on a regular basis, make sure you build on the existing relationship. Even at your lowest moment, try not to say provocative things. Some of us work with industries that have international affiliations, which their policy is also binding. So don't say you are not even interested in what Oyibo is saying. My dear, you need to be interested. You also need to understand, and you also need to be careful. I can tell you for free, the unions can be a factor for an HR to go. When they pass unnecessary vote of no confidence, they lie about, this more than you. Maybe you are controlling about 300 and something union, and your HR department is less than 10. And they will tell you the others used to listen to her, except this Oga. And they will tell you, no, it's either this Oga go or we can't work again. It has happened in different industries and we know it. So the relationship is what keeps both our own job, our integrity, and our purpose in that industry. Understanding agreements. Brethren, at times there are agreements that is signed before you got to know. And there are English that were used that even you are confused. The best thing to do, check for the expiration of that agreement. When you want to review that agreement, break down all those big English to simple English that everybody will understand. I can tell you that can be another bottle of whatever I don't understand. You yourself that even carried the agreement, you don't understand it. How much more the union that was trying to take advantage of the system that time? But we HR, big English, big drama. That's what you put and package. And by the time you want to implement the agreement, even you, the HR, is confused. Let me give an example. You can put on the chat box, somebody should interpret this thing to me. 1 month basic plus housing. Please, what's the meaning? Please, what's the meaning of 1 month basic plus housing? 2 month basic plus housing. 3 month basic plus housing. Somebody please interpret. Okay, somebody said, Ijeman said 1 month basic plus full year housing. You see? Ambiguity. Good. 1 month basic plus housing, 1 month. 1 month basic plus housing. Yeah, what's the meaning? Housing could mean giving the person. Good. I like that. Okay,
Michael, you
somebody
can
wants to.
speak.
Michael, please go ahead. Yeah, Rufus, you are very correct.
You are muted, sir. You need to unmute, sir.
Okay. So let me just quickly, okay, 1 month basic is more specific. What about the housing? Good. I like our responses. So let me explain to you. The original interpretation by people that drew up the agreement is that 1 month basic plus 1 month housing, 2 month basic plus 1 month housing, 3 month basic plus 1 month housing. The union said no. The meaning in their own mind, 1 month basic, 1 month housing, 2 month basic, 2 month housing, 3 month basic, 3 month housing. We managed the agreement till it expired. When we were doing another one, I told them, this clause of this agreement is not changing. What is changing is we need to break it down. So for 5 years, we put 1 month basic plus 1 month housing. Did I solve the problem? Problem that has caused serious problem for 2 years, just for interpretation. If I was the HR too, I would have thought to myself, we can afford this thing, no? Or I will ask somebody that's also signed a document with me. What was the spirit of this agreement? Not the letter. And if they explain to me, it's okay, for those we have not paid well, we are sorry, we have to pay you. For those that we have paid before so time, we are sorry, that is it. And there's nothing stopping you to apologize, to say, guys, I'm sorry, this is what I thought it is, but I think 1 or 2 people in the presence of 1 or 2 evidences, like that. So we must learn to understand the agreements, and we must also learn to understand beyond the agreements. Some of the agreements we have management discretion. The management discretion can only be explained by HR. What do they know that is management discretion? They don't know any management. The only person they know in management is HR. That is the problem. So the last thing I want to talk about best practices is internal protocol and policies. Permit me to say that at times our handbook is also not good. Some of us, our handbook is a conflict to our agreement with the union. Let me give an example. Your handbook already say junior staff 18 days leave, senior staff 23 days leave, management 25 days leave. You went back to sign an agreement and you have changed everything in the agreement to say junior staff 20 days, senior 25, management 30. And you did not put a clause to say this agreement supersedes whatever is in the handbook. If I'm the new HR, I will follow handbook before I follow agreement too. Because my first Bible after resumption is my handbook. It's after handbook I will follow any other agreement I see. And if your handbook too did not say so items of that handbook is subject to recent agreement or agreement in force at that time, you have not done justice. So we need to go back and understand some of these things. So let me quickly rush and say 1 or 2 things as I conclude. In labor relations, in industrial relations, in union relations, we should understand that it could either be conflictual or we can also match it. Can we see what I have in my slide there? That table is not together now. Am I right? That means something is not working. At the end of this discussion, the table should come together. There's a crack. There's something that everybody wants to talk about. The union is on one side, management is on one side. We are discussing issues. And we must come to an agreement. Anytime you did not reach an agreement, you are just postponing the evil days. It will come. So we must find a way to make sure this table become one. We should also understand that whatever industry we are, the workplace can be either a face-off, it can be an adversary issue. We can go heads on. In fact, people can even come to mediate and say, guys, what you are doing is wrong. How can we resolve it? But you should understand that if you are in this environment, even your business will be affected. So the best thing that can happen in an organization is to have this picture I'm presenting to you now. Harmony. Let us come to conclusion. Let us come to the table. Let us reach an agreement. HR bring the agreement. Let the union go to their own office. If you have office, let them type it out. All of you agree. All of you project it on your screen in the meeting room. And one, is this what we concluded? And don't forget to also write after discussion for the last 3 months. The union and management concluded as follows. Or you write the management and union considered as follows. So let them be the one to, see that this guy have us in mind. Not that they will just leave him. He's going to write something now. We don't even understand. And if you know your union are not up to par, help them to grow. Don't cheat anybody consciously or unconsciously. I beg you. It's best practice. Which one will you prefer in any of this? Which one will you prefer in any of this? I'm sure none of us will prefer lockouts, litigations. Litigations, no matter how right you are wasting productive time. I don't know what led you to strike. It's avoidable. What led to picketing? In fact, do you know your branch union cannot picket you? Picketing always comes from outside. What you have inside is lockout. So after all this one, you now go for alternative dispute resolution. Why don't you do what is right from inside, through relationship, to avoid all these things? You need to also show interest to the plight of the union. Don't say some things don't concern you. At times, that thing that is none of your business will become your major business when it affects everybody. So you need to show interest. Listen, show interest, don't interfere. If they bring issues to your table, advise them. If you know they are becoming factional, call the two factions together. Let them know you are HR and this is one company. You can't be dealing with two sets of people. They need to agree on who comes to deal with HR. Show interest. When they organize Congress, go and give them welcome address. Well done, guys. Thank you so much. Even if they are not adding any value to the company, tell them they are adding value. After all, you are still in production. Oh, we hope you do better. We wish you all the best in your discussion. Have a wonderful day. Rent chair for them. Buy soft drink. Buy water. Give them a conducive place to have meeting. Tell them you have just 1 hour. You know you have to go back to work. God bless you. Have a wonderful discussion. That is what we are saying. And there are ways you need to also understand what we mean by best practices. There are things you need to talk about. There are things you need to discuss. Documents will come to your table, you need to negotiate. You can also help them to reduce your own time wasting. What exactly do you want? What is their initial point? What is their target point? What is your own best line of potential agreements? What is the other side that you think can be an issue? Then what is your resilient point? What are a way you know that if you present this thing, it will cause problem? Those are the things you as HR practitioner need to anticipate. You need to carry the union on yourself. You need to do like a mini rehearsal before you go and meet them. Don't go to the union blindly. It's not best for you. Hello? I believe we are following. So this brings me to the final area of discussion this evening. For every industrial organization to have peace and harmony, you need to have what we call these negotiation essentials. Your negotiation must be purposeful and constructive. You know, don't just go blindly to the table, please. They will come. You may not be the one in charge of IR today. You don't know what your role will be like tomorrow. As head of HR, before you leave the meeting, they expect you to start some meetings. So these are the things you need to also equip yourself with. You need to put yourself in the position of other party at times. It's not every issue they bring that you agree on, but there are ways to disagree that will not leave you in conflict. There are also legal frameworks to some of these things, which we need to start getting abreast of. There are things that have happened that don't even need to happen. And the NIC is National Industrial Court of Nigeria. And there's a program coming up with NECA in the month of February. If you're available, just join. You will hear many things that you ask yourself. Why did it lead to this thing? How can they go? Something they will have resolved. It's because there's no relationship and trust is eroded. And these things cannot fly. Let me move fast. And there are levels of these things that we are talking about, which I also mentioned earlier. We have the national, we have the industry, we have the branch or the enterprise. So you as practitioners must be well abreast of these agreements, these documents, and the people. Don't say I don't have problem with national, what's my own? Once a while, send them a mail. How are you? Hope everything is fine. Thank you for the support of the industry. Have a wonderful day. I'm just checking on you. During the period of Christmas and all this seasonal period, if you have a product, send to them. If you don't have a product, send letter of congratulations. If they do something, greet them. If something happened to them, send letter to advertise or symbolize. These are ways that we bring about peaceful industrial atmosphere. Okay, I have some responsibilities that I think the union also need to know. Don't say it's none of your business. They are your people. So these are things we need to understand. The union is supposed to provide a way for workers, amendment to negotiate and resolve conflict in a productive manner. Some unions still bang the table. They don't care. And we also must understand how to teach this union. That's why I said in my presentation, I think a year or 2 years ago, you must train these people to get what you want. Don't say they are not useful for you. You must train them to be useful for you. That is the way to go about it. You must train them to be useful for you. You must teach them capacity. You must help them to understand that they are first employees. And anything that happens is to the benefit of everybody. You must also understand what I mentioned before, clarifying non-interference. If you are following me, I know Doctor will still share this slide on our recording, but there are some things you must understand. As I told you, I'm using the food and beverage industry where I practice. I've been there for how many years now? I think about 10 years. I think I joined in I was in Korea Plus till 2017 or so. So, and I remember very well that a lot happened in our industry that you can't even avoid, yet you must not interfere. So the procedural agreement is there with subsisting the union, function of, you must distinguish what is your role. My company also have the right to conduct their business, blah, 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 blah. So again, the union can tell you don't have the right to do ABC. You tell them, sir, this is your rights, this is my rights. If they know their limitations, your problem is reduced. And you must understand with all these ones too, the rights of the union to intervene for just and reasonable cost in matter concerning welfare and employment of its members. If a junior staff is coming to interfere in a senior staff matter, you will let them know it's none of your business. Respectfully, it's not everything Oluwatoyin, Ola, Oluwatosin. We are seeing your video. And you are making others hungry. Thank you. So, my closing remarks this evening, and I know we are going to have one or two things to say. People always give the most consideration, the best deal to those they like and trust. The union will tell you their intentions if they trust you. As HR personnel, never compromise on integrity. They will bring things to you to test you. As I was preparing this slide was also ministering to me, or let me say, talking to me. Because I realized that the union will come to ask you different things. Unfortunately, I used to ask them a question. Sorry. I used to ask them a question. If somebody needs HR somewhere and they tell you to recommend somebody, can you recommend me? I used to ask my union guys. You say, Oga, why are you asking? I said, I need to know. Because if I do this thing for you, which you know is against our company policy, company rule, it's even against my moral standard and ethics. He said, Oga, at times, but the truth is, you are a good man. You are a man of integrity. I will recommend you. I will not ask the second thing. But if I do this thing to favor me and you now, if you remember, will you recommend me? So, Oga, don't go there. I will go there. Today, you can say what you want. Tomorrow, I won't be there. They will ask you a question. Also remember, success is measured over time. Don't let your management say, this one don't even know what he's doing. The union is always having their way. Bros, always do the right thing. Use your brain. As they said in one of our HR playbook series, where the handbook stop, let your brain start. Don't go blindly all the way to take decisions that will affect you and have their consequences on the organization. My admonition is that whatever we practice, let us know that the space of IR is not for the weak and it's not for the wicked. It's for those that believe in industrial peace and harmony. Thank you very much, Dr. Adeosun. God bless you.
Thank you so much for that excellent presentation and also very timely presentation on industrial relations. I sometimes tell people that no matter your specialization, industrial relations is an aspect you must have at least above average knowledge, because it can make or mar your journey in this HR space. And even if you are working in an organization or space right now that is not unionized, who knows, your next big career opportunity may be in a unionized environment, and you may be asked questions bordering around your knowledge or lack of it, and that can be the determining factor. All right. So you'll be shocked that I've met a few HR people who, in quotes, pray that they don't work in a unionized environment, and I find it very funny because, in my opinion, your HR experience may not be robust enough if, in quotes, you've always worked in places that don't have union, and it may also be you probably not worked in enough big places. Ladies and gentlemen, it's time to contribute, share knowledge, experience, and ask questions. I think I saw one question in the chat box earlier on, and the person asked that what can you do in a situation where your management does not want to allow union? What can you do? If you'd like to ask a question or contribute, please raise your hands quickly. Those who raise their hands will be recognized and enabled to speak. Over to you, sir, for that first question.
Okay, that's a good one. But the question is, your management cannot tell you that. And that's why you see that at times when we are in the inner circle of some HR egbons, I jokingly say the kind of HR we have now are baby HR. Everybody is trying to keep their job, so they can't even say the truth. They will say management say, management say. But you have forgotten that their management. If management say don't allow union, you have two options. Are union already coming? Or you have union they are telling you to remove. If union are coming, the best you can do is to manage their arrival. If you already have union, there's nothing you can do. The best you can do is to come back to HR mentorship for guidance. And by the grace of God, I'm sure we will guide you. No matter the industry you play, there's somebody in this group that is in that industry. And that person will not be just a new HR. I'm sure there's everybody, there's different HR mentorship group. Let me let you know. And I know in the one I belong to, we have veterans that no matter how thick your issue is, they can even bring it out of the group and say, let's meet somewhere. So take advantage of this group too. Don't wait for sessions like this to everything that the organization is going through, and you'll be beneficial as well. Thank you. Over to you, Dr. Sir.
Okay, so we have a question here from Abigail. As a junior staff in the food and beverage industry, I automatically became a member of NUFBTE. How can I opt out as an HR staff?
Number one, your head of HR has also done the wrong thing by allowing HR member to be in the union. There's what they call procedural agreement. The procedural agreement identify those that cannot be member of the union. That means your HR is also not doing the right thing or is too close to the union to understand the document. So from today, go and write when you resume tomorrow morning. Withdrawal from union membership. Hi, so, hereby notify you of my intention to withdraw from union effective January 1st, 2025. Or else, during payroll, if you have not started doing your payroll, they will still deduct your dues. So you have the right to withdraw, which will not also stop your benefits because I operate in that industry. Every agreement signed is for everybody in that category. There is no bias, there is no distinguishing factor. If you sign agreement for junior, it's for all junior staff. If you sign agreement for senior, it's for all senior staff. And if you want to enjoy union, if you want to understand growth as HR, don't belong to union, belong to HR, so that you will be part of the meeting. They won't drive you out of meeting. They will say you will go and tell union what's up. You will be part of the meeting. They may even make you secretary of meetings. You will learn a lot from that interaction, and from there you will grow. Thank you, sir.
We have another question here. It says, despite the remarkable benefits and belief of stakeholders in industrial peace, why do we have negligible unionized organizations in Nigeria today? So maybe let me help him rephrase the question. So, especially newer companies and organizations, you have many organizations today that don't have union.
Yes. Many organizations don't have union. Not that they don't have a cover, but probably the company is doing better than whatever the industry is doing. Let me give, for example, where I work now, I told them after 6 months, if I was here before union came, based on where I'm coming from, you don't need union because the management currently is doing better than union. And I say, okay, but there are some other factors. I say those factors will have been addressed by handbook. say indiscriminate termination, and they will just pick somebody. I don't want you again, sack him. So those things will have been addressed by employee handbook, employee engagement. They said, no, these people need strong hand. I say, but that strong hand you have brought, you have reduced 50% of the benefits, even to the extent of salary. What they were using before was clean wage. Everything is based on gross. Salary, gross. No basic transfer housing. Leave allowance based on gross. Pension based on gross. 13 months based on gross. Bonus based on gross. When union came in, they had to break it. Basic, transport, housing, utility, back. They need to start removing. Before, the company was paying for all those NHF, everything. Now they have to start deducting their money. NHF, deduct for union. Their pension is now based on basic transport, housing. This original salary has been broken down. Benefit has reduced. When I resumed, they paid them leave allowance the first year. They came to my office, just open my door. What's the meaning of this? I said, what, sir? How will you pay us short? I said, okay, this is it. Oh, my brother, don't be angry. Sit down, tea or coffee. Okay, stop telling me this nonsense. I said, okay, you know what? It's the agreement you signed that was implemented. Had you known, you wouldn't have signed that agreement. You know that day the guy resigned from union. So if the industry is doing better, if your company is doing better than the industry, you may not need to. However, if there are bad practices or anti-labor practices, then you can stylishly, welcome union. But if not, I'll just tell you to enjoy yourself.
Thank you. Thank
Did
you
I
so
answer
much.
that question? Doctor, you can also add to it too.
I'm a learner today.
Okay, sir.
Thank you for your response. Still checking to see if there are answers or if there are if there are questions. So let me ask this on a general note. In the past and immediate past, back in the days when maybe union says, oh, they want to go on strike, this is like a national level question. People will, like sit up or like, oh, they'll go on strike, oh, let's go and buy food and stock up, oh. But now, when union says they want to go on strike, almost everybody will say, don't mind them, they won't go on any strike. They will call it off at midnight. What actually changed?
Okay. Doctor, you too, you are one of them who. Well, nothing really changed. It's because they did not, they were not patient enough to exhaust the negotiation parameters. You and I know that we can't sit today and sign an agreement today. You and I also know from what we call corridor discussion. Out of these 10 items, guys, it's only 5 we are going to do. But we are not going to do it today. Let's drag it for 3 weeks, but we know where we are going to. So that they won't see you as weakling and they won't see the union as weak people too. But those ones, you want me to say the truth, sir? They use it to siphon money. For every strike action, there's allocation. If they don't go on that strike action, they have to refund that money. So even if it's 1 hour, they must go on strike to get that money out. I'm telling you from true insight, anybody can quote me anywhere. There is largesse in strike action at national level, at state level. If they don't go on that strike, the money there's always a budget for strike. It's part of their regulations. It's part of their work ethics because they don't want people to suffer during strike. So there's a provision and budget for strike actions so that they can be able to carry out their so-called mandates to drive their point home. However, if they don't go on that strike, even if it's 1 hour, that money will not be disbursed. And you and I know the level of corruption in this country. Even if it's 10 minutes, let's show ourselves that we're on strike. And after that, we call it off. Thank you.
Another question I would like to ask, I've met a few people, for example, who worked in with the union itself, some of the unions directly. Sometimes it looks like their human resource practices internally is not very good. Why do you think it's so? As in the kind of things unions are fighting for, requesting for from the organization, sometimes they don't treat their own staff very well. What do you think can be responsible for that in some cases? I don't know if you had that kind of experience.
You are very correct. As I speak to you, some union, when they come to organizations and you throw that question to them, they will tell you the union we have now is not like the union we have then. And you ask them, what do you mean? They say, sir, now the people there are people you can't talk to. They are principalities and powers. So all they are after is position, not that thing we used to know. Not the people of Baba Imudu. People we have now, people that are fortunate to get to that seat and don't even look at the office. They don't look about the organization. They're only interested in what is happening and how to share the national cake. For example, should I tell you that the union too don't have internal agreement that they time for other up and down? Some will tell you they have not increased their salary for years. They are still getting, because they don't run an organization. They run a one-man show. Even the executive secretary that knows what to do will tell you is subject to whatever the president say. And president will tell you there's no money because we need to go to London. We need to go to ILO conference. We need to go to Addis Ababa. We need to go to Abuja for a meeting. We need to lodge in Chelsea Hotel. And you see these people that work with them, they look like something you can't explain. So the issue is conscience issue is another thing. Integrity issue we also mentioned. And so some of these people are truly not professionals. The day you will see somebody that has have a niche of HR in any of those places, they don't also last. Go and find out. They start frustrating them because they know exactly what to do. They ask for their rights and they won't get it. They will tell you, no, this is a union official. We don't run a hair. They will tell you they are not a profit-making organization. They are only fighting. So they will tell you union is sacrifice. It's not a money-making venture. However, I think we, as practitioners, we can also encourage them to put their house in order before they start making noise abroad. Thank you.
Thank you so much. We have some questions here. Michael says, should HR discourage or encourage trade unionism in the organization? Then Ijoma here says, how about the requirements of the law regarding permission of union based on the minimum number of employees?
There's no, except you want to show me the law that talks about number of employees for union. No, me have not seen it. At least I've been dealing with union from my days of Perfetti, from Perfetti to Courier Plus to AFBT to Tulip. I've not seen where they say minimum of 5 before you join union. As long as the person can identify an umbrella, he has the rights. You may have read other things, so I would like to learn as well. For Michael Fakayode, it's none of your business, so as HR, to encourage or discourage. If there's no union in your industry, practice your HR professionally, do your best in that industry. When it's time to go, go. Don't ever let management catch you talking about discouraging or encouraging trade unionism. It will be automatically agreed that you are a union person and it's to your favor. And in such organization, union comes in and they start tormenting you. If I were management, I will use the union against you yourself because you brought them. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Earlier on, Mr. Tunde Malik Agbalaya raised his hands. He's a seasoned person. I see you've dropped your hand, but I'll encourage you to please unmute and speak and share with us so that we can leverage on your wealth of experience. Tunde, if you can hear me, please, we'll be excited if you can share with us.
Okay, Dr. Adeosho, thank you very much. I think yes, thank you very much. Comrade Cheyi, thank you very much for your submission too. I doff my hat. I'd wanted to say one thing to make my contribution. Number one, I saw a question too on somebody that asked that how we identify the union that his organization belongs to. I just wanted to share my own experience, and that's why we have Ministry of Labor, but I think Dr. Sheyi just mentioned it too. You can identify through Ministry of Labor. So our company, which union do we, belong? They will write to you and come and do what they call union verification, and from there you can go ahead. Yes, where I really wanted to make contribution earlier, and I just lower my hand because it could generate arguments that when the presenter said that union go on strike because they must just justify union strike budget. I beg to say that it is not in all cases. It is not in all situations like that. I've been privileged to have, been union, a very strong union in this country, Tengasan, to the national level. And I think it is not in all cases. Sometimes we call off strike midnight simply because we have equally see some supremacy in argument. We have equally listened and say, oh, it will be better for us to do this through negotiation. When demands are met, like we normally say in our JCC, what we call JCC is the Joint Consultative Forum. That's okay, let us have even discussion, debate before we even before the management or government. Sometimes we will go to discussion with list of demands, knowing fully well that we are just picking only one or two. And once it is met, we go back. You see, what do you want to wear? It is not every time that we have budgets for whatever, because that is too generic. And some people, half of us who are listening here can take down, away. And so that's the meaning of union. It is not, and it's not in all cases. And I think I should just clear, but I will not have a clear conscience if I didn't say that, because some of us are not like that. And I agree with you that the day you have in the union a knowledgeable HR, now, like I said, I've discussed times that number with Adeosho. As I'm speaking from England. Yes, in another class. I just returned now. I will come back ending. It is just about this HR transition. I work now with the DG who felt that, oh, you work in the union to this level. Come and support me up there. And truly, when you have that knowledge, you have that clear knowledge of HR, you find that you can resolve a lot of issues without even having union on ground. If you are truly an HR person, that we can support this. If you check our corporate policy, we have this. Instead of waiting for the union to come and argue with us, let's call Pengasin and no Peng. Let's discuss and give it to them. Even you'll be surprised that they will be bringing case to you before they even call their Congress. And let's go and meet that comrade that works with DG now. He knows what he's doing. So I agree with you. But that's one is not only every time that we just lift money and we go on strike or call off strike because we want to justify budget. Number two is good to have a knowledgeable HR person to also be at the top of your game, and it will be better for the organization. That is just my contribution. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Your comment is valid because you didn't even start the strike. You even call up before the start. So you are justified. Very correct, sir.
Well, thank you very much.
So much.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much. And just to put it out there, if there's any strong union leader or member, please, we are open. So if you want to do a webinar for us on unionism from the unionism perspective and why we should join or people should join, that kind of a thing. We just want to have all sides of the conversation so that we can enrich our knowledge. HR mentorship, we love union, and we also love non-unionized environment, because you can have employee engagement with or without union. Unionism is an integral part of it, just like the judiciary, for example, is also part of it. The state ministry of labor, even administrator of labor, come present on this platform in the past. I would just like to indulge us to do one more thing, so that we can round up. Because we've been talking about union, and I'm not used to talking about union without singing. So, Comrade Sheyi Adegbola, I think we should end with our song. Soli, 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 solidarity forever. Solidarity forever. Solidarity forever. We shall always fight for our rights.
Solidarity
Solidarity
forever.
Solidarity forever.
We
We shall always fight for our rights. Africa.
Africa. Hey, doctor,
Yes,
you are
so.
coming.
Yes, so. Yes, so. When you now say Aluta Continua, Victoria
Scientific Asaka.
Yes, so. We to be honest, we owe a lot to the unions.
Should we sing the song now?
Oh yeah, sing, Oga, sing. You are the choir master.
Solidarity forever. Solidarity forever. Solidarity forever. Forward ever, backward never, forward ever, backward never.
In the struggle,
for there is victory. We the workers, solidarity
forever,
forward,
backward, never,
forward,
ever.
Thank you very much.
The spirit of Aluta is here. Ladies and gentlemen, please, we can all unmute now and let's appreciate and thank Comrade Sheyi Adegbola for doing justice.
Thank you, Comrade Pastor Sheyi.
Thank you so much for the lesson.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Prof.
Hey, that's funny.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank you, comrade.
Bless you. I'm grateful.
Thank you.